Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike Bass back again with another forecast update for you for this September the 26th, 2023. I'm hoping everybody's having a great Tuesday out there so far. Everybody has a great Tuesday afternoon. Hope everybody continues to stay safe and well and also enjoy the weather because it's the only weather you got. Okay, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the tropics here and also maybe a little bit across the lower 48. Also, we're going to take a look at Tropical Storm Philippe, which is kind of weakening down as expected. And also we're going to take a look at Invest 91L, which still looks to become Tropical Storm Rena. And also we're going to take a look at the Watch and Warning Advisory map in this video. And also we're going to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for severe weather for today and Wednesday. I looked at Thursday forecast. There's just a few general thunderstorms, but no severe weather at this time. So I would not be surprised. Maybe the Storm Prediction Center, maybe tomorrow, could add a slight risk to a certain area. But right now, it just looks like just general thunderstorm, pretty much just across southern Georgia to Florida, back toward portion of Louisiana, a little bit over into the Pacific Northwest, and that's about it. But we'll dive into the details later in this forecast. But let's go ahead and get into the forecast here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and consider subscribing to my channel if you like my weather forecast. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Also, it only takes about 2 seconds to like these videos, and also it takes only a few seconds to share these videos on social media so that way more people get a chance to view my forecast and to grow my forecast channel. I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to it so far. Thank you very much. And let's go ahead and get the show on the road here, folks. Alright, as you can see here, we're going to start off with Philippe. Philippe's located right here. Rena's almost catching up with it. The reason this system here is weakening, I think most the Tropical Invest 91L looks to become Tropical Storm. Rena's trying to rob some of the moisture out of it and pulling it into that system. So I would not be surprised. Maybe this system could gang up with this system here, and may produce Rena later on down the road. Over the northeastern tropical Atlantic, we got a cold front extending all the way from this area of low pressure here, extended all the way across back into the northeast, back down into the southeast, and back down into Texas. Also, we got a little tropical wave here. Go ahead to keep an eye on it as it continues to move north. It's going to bring some heavy rain and maybe some flash flooding possible to Cuba and maybe into the Florida Keys. Maybe some heavy rain and stuff maybe for South Florida and on up into Central Florida as well. And that system kind of continues to pull north while that frontal boundary sets right here. We're going to have to watch this area. Like I said, we'll have to watch this area here. If it do get off the southeast coast, have to watch it for possible development. I would not be surprised to see. They have not said anything about it, but I would not be surprised if it gets off the southeast coast. It could develop, but something we'll have to keep eye on. Also, we got some shower activity down in Central America and also off the Eastern Pacific. Any of these storms can maybe become a tropical cyclone. But right now, nothing in the short term I see to develop at this time. The tropical waves moving off the west coast of Africa is kind of easing down. We got a little system here trying to flare up, but this region here, the MDR region, should be getting about ready to shut down because of the later the tropical season it is, the more this here begins to shut down. Tropical waves just move across, but they will not develop. But anyway, I getting ahead of myself, folks. But anyway, the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Western Atlantic is going to be the tropical development over the next couple of months. And we only got four more names in the list before we will end the season. So, but if we get more named storms before after we use up all the names, we'll have to go into another list of names for the Atlantic hurricane season. All right, well, that's enough of that. But anyway, also across the lower 40, Ohio, Indiana, Ohio, and then continues to, and maybe Kentucky, and then move, pivot, like I said, we'll pivot to the east and move it over portions of the northeastern United States later today. Some of this moisture down here will continue to push northward. There's a cold front kind of slated right across the area here, steady from the Gulf of Mexico through the Carolinas and back offshore. So I would not be surprised that some of that moisture may get pulled northward. Over the next. Alright, as you can see here, here's the center rotation. Most of the activity is to the east of the center. As you can see, Philippe is getting very, very poorly organized. Wind shear is interacting, and also dry air is also interacting with this system. That's why it's weakening, and also that system to the southeast, which looks to become 90, which is 91L, is robbing some of the moisture from that system as well, pulling it into that system as well. So I would not be surprised. Philippe may dissipate in the next couple of days. The National Hurricane Center has it going all the way through dissipating earlier than that. But we'll take a look at it anyway. But let's take a look at the forecast cone real quick. Alright, you can see here the tropical storm force winds in the yellow. They keep it as a tropical storm through Wednesday at 8 a.m. By Thursday at 8 a.m. By Friday a.m. it's a depression, but I would not be surprised this thing may drop off to a depression even further than that. The depression will continue to move west toward the Bahamas. May bring some rains, maybe some showers and storms to the Bahamas, but it should begin to start dissipating. But like I said, it may bring some showers and storms, maybe some squally weather to portions of the island early next week. So if anybody in the Bahamas or heading to the Bahamas, you may deal with some squally weather, maybe some rain activity as well, as Philippe continues to move out of the way. If this is the correct cone, just the correct direction of the storm, because for the past few days, the National Hurricane Center model has been turning it. They tried to turn it out here like this earlier this week. Last week. Then the other day it turned it toward Bermuda, just a little bit east of Bermuda. Then it headed toward Bermuda. Now it bent it back to the west. So, but then, like I said, if anybody in the Bahamas needs to be on the lookout for this system possible early to mid part of next week. All right. If you're tracking Philippe at home, it's located near latitude 17.3 north, longitude 50.3 west. Maximum sustained winds are near 45 miles an hour with higher gusts. Moving is to the west at 14 miles per hour. Right now, it's still classified as tropical storm with winds of 39 to 73 miles per hour. I would not be surprised in the next few advisories it may drop back to wind speeds of 40 miles per hour, and then probably down to a depression maybe sometime on Wednesday. Even though they're saying Friday, but it could drop back a little. It could drop back to a depression a little earlier than that. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. All right. Here's the forecast computer model guidance, or the spaghetti-o model, everybody calls it. See that this is where the current position is. Keep it pretty well compacted to about 96 hours out to 120. Some of the computer models shifted off to the north before it gets to the Bahamas. Some moves it into the Bahamas. So, like I said, that's why the National Hurricane Center just got it kind of the little big bubble out at the end to see if that system heads toward the Bahamas. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that and see. That's the way the current projection is right now. All right, now let's move on to the You can see we got 40 knot winds equal to 40 miles per hour. It keeps it through a tropical storm, and then about 48 to 60 hours down the road drops off into a depression. Few keeps it into a tropical storm status, but the National Hurricane Center, and I'm pretty much agreeing with it as well, that it will drop off into a tropical depression. So we might be able to say goodbye to Philippe unless it regenerates back into a tropical storm later on down the road. That cannot be ruled out as well. So we'll just have to keep eye on that as well. All right, let's move on to Invest 91L. As you can see, 91L getting a little better organized. It's beginning to rob some of the moisture from Philippe. It's trying to get his act together. So I would not be surprised to see a tropical depression form probably in the next maybe later today or maybe on Wednesday. So we'll just have to see what the National Hurricane Center do over the next few advisories to come. So let's see if we can get this system to become a tropical depression, which will become Tropical Depression 18. All right, here's a look at the computer model, radio model, as everybody calls it. Here's the current position. Keeps it going off to the west-northwest. Like I said, pretty much just a west-northwest with tracks across the central and tropical Atlantic. Here is the Leeward Island, Trinidad, Barbados, islands down in the Eastern Caribbean Sea. But it's pretty well to the northeast of you guys, so you should not feel any impact from this system. Alright, let's take a look at the intensity guidance of this system. As you can see, it has 30 knot winds equal almost up to 35 miles per hour. It's almost a tropical depression right now. I would not be surprised if they may go ahead and start issuing advisories on this system. Then it ramps it up into a tropical storm, even takes it into a category 1 and 2 hurricane as well. Some even try to shoot up to a category 4. But I'm not going to rule that out. But like I said, I'm probably going to disregard them two for now. But to a category 1 or 2, yes, it's possible that this system can reach category 1 or 2 status. So I'm gonna keep you up to date on that as well as we continue to go forward. All right, that's your tropical update. Now let's move on to the watches, warning, advisory map for your location across the nation. Alright, you can see here we got some frost advisories over New York State. Also some coastal flood advisory, flood watches in effect from up here around New Jersey, Rhode Island vicinity, Maryland, all the way down into Virginia, Eastern Virginia. Coastal flood advisory for South Carolina. Flood advisory down here in southern Georgia and northern Florida, around the Big Bend area of Florida. Also, we got some beach hazard statement for you guys up here in portions of Michigan, also into Wisconsin and Minnesota. Air quality alert for you guys in northeast Texas. Special weather statement for southeast Texas. Wind advisory for northeastern Minnesota. Some fire weather watches for central portion of Wyoming. Red flag warning for a county there in portions of California. Gale warning extended from Maine all the way down to Virginia. Same from California all the way up to Washington State. Alright, Alaska looks good. Central and North Hawaii and Chain Island looks good. Central and South, few gale warnings to the south. Alright, now here's a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. Alright, you can see we got general thunderstorm for portions of Idaho back into Washington, Oregon State. Same over here in portions of New Mexico, Arizona, back into portions of Kansas, down into much of Texas, all the way far east to South Carolina, down into the Florida Panhandle and the Florida Keys as well, South Florida too. Also an area of showers and storms up here in portions of Michigan, Wisconsin, all the way down into portions of Kentucky, Missouri as well. Marginal risk also in effect for you guys through Illinois back into Indiana. Also down in southern Georgia, North Florida, also West Texas, and southeastern and central New Mexico. Alright, if you live in Jacksonville, Florida, in Indianapolis, Indiana, El Paso, Texas, Aurora, Illinois, and Rockville, Illinois, marginal risk for severe weather this afternoon. Tornado probability, 2% up here in Illinois. This includes Aurora, Rockville, Napper, Juliet, and Pereira, Illinois vicinities. Alright, for a 2% risk for a tornado, damaging winds, 5% down in Florida. Also in Texas, this includes Jacksonville, Florida, Gainesville, Florida, Dalton, Florida, also El Paso, Texas, and Las La Cruz, New Mexico. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. For 5% risk for damage and wind. Large hail. If you live in Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's see. El Paso, Texas, Aurora, Rockford, and Naperville, Illinois region. You're having 5% risk for large hail this afternoon. All right, let's move on to day number 2. This will be your Wednesday forecast. Alright, you can see we got general thunderstorm for portions of northeast Washington State through Montana, portions of South North Dakota. Same over in New Mexico through Texas, all the way to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, including the Florida Keys, the Big Bend area of Florida, Florida Panhandle, North Alabama, Northwest Georgia, all the way up in the portions of Michigan, and also Illinois, and also in Ohio. We have a marginal risk in portions of Illinois, in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and northern Tennessee. Alright. If you live in Nashville, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Fayetteville, Kentucky, Dayton, Ohio, marginal risk for severe weather on Wednesday. Tornado probability less than 2% in all areas. Damaging winds. This includes Nashville, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Fayetteville, Kentucky, Evansville, Indiana, and the large hail, same areas, Nashville, Tennessee, all the way to Dayton, Ohio, including Lexington, Fayetteville, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you day number 3 anyway. Like I said, just pretty much in your area for Thursday. Alright, general thunderstorm pretty much just across the board. Anyway, like I said, from Washington State through Idaho and portions of northwest Montana, from South Dakota back into Texas and New Mexico, South Texas to the Florida Keys, also the Outer Banks of North Carolina, also into North Alabama, all the way up to Ohio and also Indiana. Would not be surprised to see maybe a slight risk, a marginal risk, maybe added in a few areas here. So we'll keep you up to date. I'll have another update tomorrow on this here and see if they update anything on it as well. Well, hope everybody enjoyed this video. Hope everybody continues to stay safe and well. Also enjoy the weather because the only weather you got. Like these videos, share these videos, consider subscribe if you have not, and we'll catch you back in the next video. So have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday afternoon, folks, and take care.